In the dimly lit recesses of a nondescript bar on the fringes of the galaxy, a group of battle-hardened alien veterans gathered to share tales of their past glories and defeats. Among them was Zorath, a once feared general of the mighty Kraxan Empire, now reduced to a shadow of his former self. As he nursed a glass of potent alien liquor, his friends urged him to recount a story from his past, a tale of a war that had forever changed his perception of the universe and its myriad inhabitants. It was a war against a species he had once dismissed as primitive and insignificant, the humans. Zorath's eyes darkened as he began his tale. The Kraxan Empire, in its insatiable hunger for conquest, had set its sights on the fledgling human civilization. Zorath, a young and ambitious general at the time, had been tasked with leading the invasion. He had approached the mission with confidence, certain that his technologically advanced forces would swiftly crush any resistance the humans could muster. But as the first waves of Kraxan troops descended upon the human homeworld, they were met with a ferocity and cunning that none of them had anticipated. The humans, armed with weapons that seemed crude and outdated by Kraxan standards, fought with a tenacity and resourcefulness that belied their supposed primitiveness. Zorath's voice grew somber as he recounted the first battle, where his forces had been lured into a dense urban environment. The narrow streets and towering structures provided the perfect cover for the human defenders, who used their knowledge of the terrain to devastating effect. The Kraxan forces, unaccustomed to such unconventional tactics, struggled to adapt to the fluid, chaotic nature of the battle. Their advanced weaponry and armor, designed for open, large-scale engagements, proved to be of little use in the close-quarters combat that the humans had forced upon them. As the war dragged on, the humans continued to employ guerrilla warfare tactics, using hit-and-run attacks to harass and wear down the Kraxan forces. They would strike suddenly and without warning, only to disappear back into the shadows, leaving Zorath's troops frustrated and demoralized. What truly set the humans apart, however, was their ability to adapt and improvise. They quickly learned to repurpose captured Kraxan technology, turning the Empire's own weapons against them. They fashioned makeshift armor and weapons from the wreckage of fallen Kraxan war machines, using whatever resources they had at hand to continue their resistance. Zorath recalled one particular instance where a group of human fighters had managed to disable a Kraxan siege engine, a colossal, heavily armed vehicle designed to lay waste to entire cities. Using a combination of their primitive explosives and captured Kraxan technology, the humans had transformed the siege engine into a mobile fortress, which they then used to devastating effect against Zorath's forces. The turning point in the war came during a battle that would forever be etched into Zorath's memory. His forces, having finally managed to corner a large contingent of human fighters in a remote mountainous region, had prepared for a final, decisive assault. Zorath had been eager to deliver a crushing blow to the humans, believing that their morale would shatter once they realized the futility of their resistance. But as they advanced, the Kraxan troops found themselves ensnared in a web of traps and fortifications that the humans had secretly constructed throughout the mountains. The narrow passes and treacherous terrain, combined with the relentless barrage of human fire, turned the battle into a nightmare for Zorath's forces. Just as the Kraxan troops began to falter, the humans launched a daring surprise attack. A small, elite force of human fighters, using stealth and deception to infiltrate the Kraxan lines, had managed to seize control of a vital communications relay. With the relay in their hands, the humans were able to jam the Kraxan's communications, leaving Zorath's forces blind and disoriented. As chaos descended upon the Kraxan ranks, the humans pressed their advantage, launching a coordinated assault that shattered Zorath's forces and left him with no choice but to order a full retreat. Years later, as he sat in that dimly lit bar, Zorath couldn't help but feel a grudging respect for the humans and their unconventional tactics. They had taught him a valuable lesson in the art of war, one that he would never forget. That sometimes the most primitive and unassuming weapons could be the most deadly, and that the true strength of a warrior lay not in their technology, but in their ingenuity and determination. As Zorath finished his tale, his friends sat in silence, contemplating the lessons of his story. The bar seemed to grow quieter, as if the very universe itself was paying homage to the indomitable spirit of the humans. And in that moment, Zorath knew that he had not only shared a story of defeat, but also one of admiration for an enemy that had forever changed him.